Fresh calls for his resignation, but the constant media storm around him might just keep him in his job for now.
We can speak now to Greg Treverton. He formerly served as chairperson of the U.S. National Intelligence Council from 2014 to 2017 and a vice chair from 1993 to 1995. Greg, very good to have you on the program tonight. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you. Do you think that Mike Waltz's exit from this role has more to do with the controversy surrounding Signal, that group chat, or is this because he wasn't well aligned with other members of the administration?
I think it's really a combination. He's obviously the fall guy for Signalgate, but as you said in your lead-in, Trump didn't want to do that immediately, so he's bided his time. But it also seems to me he may have fallen foul of the Trump loyalty test. He seems to have gotten crosswise with Trump's main loyalty police person, Laura Loomer. And it also may be that there's even a hint of ideology here, that Waltz is more conservative, more anti-Russian than Trump seems to like, and others as well. So it's, as usual in the Trump administration, quite a lot of chaos and not exactly clear why this happened. But I suppose that Signalgate is the main, or at least the main argument for it. Trump obviously was careful to say, we didn't do anything wrong because I'm now kicking them upstairs to be the ambassador to the UN. But my suspicion is that's probably the main piece of it. But in this administration, we know there's lots more going on.
Yeah, I mean, to the point of chaos, as Democrats have accused the Trump administration that this is a sign of that chaos. At the same time, Donald Trump in his first term went through 4 national security advisors. So is this just kind of a blip, or do you think that this is something more significant about where the administration is right now?
I think it's not just a blip, and at least Mike Waltz lasted longer than Mike Flynn, who only lasted a month in the first Trump administration. So. But I think this will continue. I mean, this is not, it seems to me, doesn't bode particularly well for Marco Rubio, despite all the lavish praise. I think anytime Mr. Trump says someone's unbelievable, that's not a good sign, maybe a bad sign for that person. And since Rubio is also relatively hardline about U.S.-Russian relations, I'm not sure this is good for him either, despite acquiring the second half. This is the first time that one person has had both the Secretary of State job and the National Security Advisor job since Henry Kissinger in the 1970s. But I think this is certainly not the end. We know that there's going to be a continuing jockeying for position, not so much, but some perhaps about ideology. But it's all about loyalty and personality, as far as I can tell.
Why is this National Security Advisor role important?
But it's important because it really is it's meant to be the person that makes the trains run on time, that coordinates, that makes sure that all the important views are heard. And in a funny way, in Signalgate, Waltz was doing his job. That is, he was bringing basically the people with interest in this decision together. He did it in all the wrong ways, but he was playing the kind of coordinating role that the National Security Advisor is meant to do. Obviously, the advisor role has to walk a kind of a tightrope. On the one hand, they all want to have influence. Witness Henry Kissinger, the National Security Advisor I work for is Zbigniew Brzezinski. On the one hand, on the other hand, they've got to be an honest broker and make sure that the views of the relevant Secretary of State and Defense and others get heard. So it has always been a hard line to walk, but it's a very important job.
And Greg, before we let you go, do you think that, or who do you think we might see fill this role going forward after this interim position, of course, for Marco Rubio, as you mentioned?
I think it's likely to be someone like Witkoff, someone close to the president. Obviously, Witkoff has no particular credentials for national security at all, but it's likely to be someone I think that he very much trusts. And it's also important that when people look at the U.S. government, they often think the vice president is the second most important person in the executive branch, but that's not true. The second most important person is the chief of staff. This is Susie Wiles in this case, and I think Waltz may have gotten crosswise with her as well. So the next person will be someone who's not only supremely loyal to the president, but also gets along well with the people closely around him, particularly her.
Okay, Greg, great to get your insights tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on BBC News.
Thank you.